Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Welcome back to Sheversations. The time is 11:49, but because we already know how to tell the time, it is 9 minutes. It is 9 minutes to, am I lying? It's 11 minutes to 12. It's 11. See, we said once, imefika half past. We say 2. We're educated and we've learned this thing. So that's what the time is. In case you're just joining us, we are shouting out Miss Mayonde. And that was Raha, which she did with HSKE, MDQ, and Polaris Pauline. Right before that, we had Energy with her and the same band of her peoples. What are we doing today? So today we're having conversations with some awesome human beings. And in case you haven't noticed, I am here with them. They are going to introduce themselves, starting off with the lady on my right. Hi, ma'am. How are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm honored to have you here. What's your name?
My name is Skylar. They call me Skylar Lorena, and I'm really, really happy to be here.
Unasikia guys, mnasikia hizo majina. Alafu nyinyi wengine kwinje mnaitwa Maina, Wamoyo, sijui. Okay, nimekasirikiwa ni sawa. I've stopped. Yes. And to a gentleman, hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you and what's your name?
I'm doing good. I'm James.
Yes.
Some people know me as Blaze, but on professional circles, I go by James.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so is this a professional circle? Should we call you James here or should we call you?
Either works.
Either. Okay. So ni sisi kuamua if you want to be professional ama tunataka hizo majina za mtaa. Well, I'm really honored to have you guys in studio, and because as human beings don't know you, we're going to talk about who you guys are. So let's start off with Skylar. Skylar, is that your government name? Na utuambie ukweli.
Okay, that is, oh wow, someone's giving me the bombastic side eye. So I won't lie, Skylar is just a name that my friends gave me.
Okay.
A very long time back. I think it goes back to high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your friends loved you.
They loved me a lot.
Yeah, because the things other people are calling their friends. Sijui Blackie, sijui yo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so way back in high school, they started calling me Skylar. I liked sky gazing and...
Sky gazing in high school?
Imagine.
Who were you? Guys, were you guys sky gazing in high school? Did I even know what sky gazing?
That was just my idea of getting lost and forgetting people. But they were like, "Oh my God, you like looking at the sky."
James, did you know what sky gazing was in high school?
Oh, really?
No, no, ma'am, you were onto something else.
Cool stuff.
Cool kid.
Ulikuwa cool kid, amwetu.
Okay, I won't deny that.
Yes.
Yeah, but my government name is Lorena.
Yes. Which is also it's
really
giving.
dope.
Yeah,
It's really
thank
dope.
you.
Let's not talk about other people's children. Lorena.
Oh my. So Lorena is my name. I'm a software engineer by profession.
Whoop whoop.
And I'm also an artist on the side, so a creative, say the least.
I don't like it when artists say that they're artists on the side.
Oh, okay.
You're an artist, period.
I am an artist, period.
Thank you.
I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my ish.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
So yeah, that's who I am. An artist in its entirety. I'm a painter, a poet, a musician.
Come on now.
Yes. That's who I am.
Like, guys, there's nothing she doesn't do. And should I ask, are you single? Because we have gentlemen who are always bombarding me here watching this show. They have applied. We apply for relationship positions, marriage.
Okay.
Normally it's them applying and them getting rejected and then me crying about being alone. So like maybe when unatafutana.
Wanitafute.
Wakutafute.
Wanitafute. Good thing we have a resume guy over here, so he'll help us with the reviews.
Okay, and on that note, plug them with your socials even before we get into anything
it's
else.
Skylar_Lorena. That is SKYLAR _ L. Hey, jamani. Hata jina.
Do I need to ask? When ni msichana wa Murema?
Nimelelewa na watu wa Murema.
Okay, unaona waliguza Murema ndio maana.
Jamani.
Yeah.
Lakini pia unajua kule Tanzania tuna shida ya L na R, so I'm from there as well, so.
Okay.
So Skylar, SKYLAR _LORENA on all socials, on Spotify, Boomplay, Deezer, wherever you add YouTube, it's the same name, Skylar Lorena.
Guys, please, Amesema, you guys should look for her. So please look for her, follow her items, show her some love and let her know that Caroline sent you. Okay, my Sheversationist, thank you very much. So before we bother James with these questions, I'm gonna ask you, Skylar. Young Skylar, what did she want for herself as a child?
I think she wanted a lot. Growing up, she wanted to be a truck driver. That was her first dream. Crazy.
How old were you when you decided a truck driving was a
in
thing?
class 8. Yeah.
Class 8, you'd have been what, 14, 13?
I know 14 is quite big to think about being a truck driver, you know.
But like truck driver in Kenya, where did you grow up? What bubble?
I grew up in Area 4. I don't know if people know that place.
Me siju area 4, but
Oh my God,
I'm
that
the
is
worst
like
person actually.
deep in the hood. It's in the hood. It's Matare.
Okay.
Kirudi Kumbelo Kelekea Survey.
And
There's
yeah.
an area called Area 4. That's where I grew up.
And truck driving was the go-to thing, or was it just you?
Truck driving, I'll tell you why. There's this exam that we had in English, and it had this poem that said, my first love was a 10-tow truck. She played the bitch with me, so I let her go. So yeah, that was where I got the info from.
So it was a poetry that messed you up.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I want to be a truck driver.
You romanticized it. And
And
then
I
you
did.
grew up and now
And then I grew
your
up.
trucks are not it.
They're not it. They're definitely not it. I figured for you to be a truck driver, you have to be driving. I don't know, in Qatar, I had jobs outside, and I always wanted to live my life here.
Okay.
Home.
Ooh, guys, a Kenyan who doesn't want to escape. At least there's two of us now. There's
Yes.
two of us.
Yes.
I love that for us. And then James.
Yeah.
Yes, so 6-year-old James, 12-year-old James, I don't know, whatever young is for you, what did you want that isn't what you're doing now? What did you want for yourself when you were younger?
I think essentially I'm almost doing whatever I've always wanted to do since I was young. Because
Really?
I was into literature a bit. I was reading. And
Okay.
every young reader always knows that they have that belief in themselves that they can write or they can tell stories and all that. So,
Right.
but it went from like wanting to be a doctor, to be a pilot, to be all these things. Then grow up, go to campus, pivot from what I was doing in campus to like the space that I'm at now. So I think that my desire was just to leaving Nakuru at that time I left, and I think things are going pretty dope as of now. Yeah.
Okay, so you wanted to write, now you're a storyteller.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, no, they didn't mess us up
Yeah.
that bad, because I myself also really liked literature,
Yeah.
and now I talk for a living. So atukupotea sana. As for truck drivers,
Yeah.
Truck driver.
it is well. It is, your dreams are
Yeah.
valid. Maybe one day you own a truck, like a monster truck, you know,
Yes.
like
Pretty much. That's my dream.
I like that. I like that. Already. All right. And so now when it comes to, this is a very general question, but is there space for young people in Kenya to dream and actually achieve their dreams? Am I Nile to, you're just shooting, you're doing target practice while you're blindfolded? Because I feel like this is a realistic question to ask in 2024, because we see where our country is. Maybe
Yes.
from where it is, we might see where it's going. So let's start with James. Actually, do you feel like it's valid right now for young people to dream?
there's a space to dream, but essentially the problem with dreams is that they are costly. You have to like pay for.
Ooh, price tag on those dreams.
There's a price tag. So essentially, what happened to like a couple of generations, including us, was that we were told you go to school, do this and this, and your life will be very, very well, very well set up. But what we realized is that even if we accomplished everything that we had been told to do, you now come out here and now you have to do your own thing. You find so many people like this friend of mine who went to law school. Right now he's a comic. You find there's another pal of ours went to architecture school. He's now doing podcasting and all that. So you have to, there is that prerequisite, like you have to toe the line maybe for the parents,
Yeah.
and then branch off. Yeah.
Your party are the parents. Let us not. I don't know if you have enough money for therapy. We don't have enough time on this show. Talk about these degrees for the parents. Let's say to tuliwasamehe. Anyways, in my case. And Skylar, what do you think? What does the price tag on dreams look like for you?
Well, I feel like there's still space to dream, given that I am doing exactly what I thought I would do a few years back.
Okay.
And one thing I'll say is where I've found space for my dream to grow is with people, with community.
Yeah.
Once you sit down with people and realize, oh, I'm not the only one with this kind of dream, and you can see how they're pushing, or they're a level above you or a level below you, it gives you the motivation to want to do better. The problem is, just like he said, it's costly, and not everyone will be in support of what you're doing. Resources are they're not at your disposal, So there's space to dream.
I love that. And sometimes I feel like if it was an option, we'd just start our own country. I'm just like, can you, like, all the dreamers, let's just, but anyways, I love this country. I'm a patriot. And, if I don't fix it, where will my children live? Those that plan on having families in the future. So it's my, like, somebody fought for me to not be colonized right now. Yeah. Somebody fought for me as a woman to have been educated, to be able to vote, drive a car, stuff like that, and to have a profession. So I'm just like, okay, nimechoka. So if I'm tired, then it's time for me to fight, because there's a generation coming after me that will appreciate that. Yeah, thank you guys for sharing what you think about that. And before we get into the deeps of whatever it is that we're discussing today when it comes to career development, tech, community building, on all of that, we are gonna hear from Mayonde, and this is our fave, Nairobi. She is featuring Stony Jiwe, and Undercover right after that, and then we'll be coming back to you. Enjoy.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
That was Nairobi by Mayonde and Stony Jiwe. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sheversations. In case you want to holler at us, you want to let us know how it's going down on your end, you can do so on @Power Radio across all social media platforms. That will be X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And you can find me, Caroline_Murote on Instagram, and Caroline Murote on all social media platforms. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we were just talking to Skylar and James, and Victor will be joining us in just a moment. And I wanted to ask them, guys, what, like, you guys have decided to come in, honor us with your presence. You have good news for us. You have something that's up and coming, and that's related with what you guys do. So Skylar, can you tell us a little bit more about, what you do, the thing that pays your rent, pays your bills?
Yes, I actually do software engineering. I'm also an educator at Moringa School.
Ooh, women in STEM.
Women in STEM.
Love that.
Thank you very much. So what we have is, I'll start from somewhere.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit about my community and what we are working on.
All right.
So we have a community called Wuwoka. The name is quite the name.
It's a mouthful.
It is quite the name, honestly. We were just like, how do you pronounce this?
How do you pronounce this?
Actually, these people.
It's just as is Wuwoka.
Wuwoka.
Yeah. So
okay.
It's an abbreviation for wake up, work out, go kick ass.
It just looks like this.
Yeah.
Like if I was to say, it's just like, yeah.
Up, work out.
Like a gym mantra.
Exactly. And that's the thing though.
Okay.
It's not entirely a gym mantra.
Yeah.
So wake up is basically you coming to the realization of, yourself and where I'm at and where I want to be. Just basically accepting I'm probably not where I want to be. That's waking up.
Right.
And then working out is you noting down where you want to be. Like, okay, so where do I want to be and what can I do to get there? And then kicking ass is you actualizing it by actually putting in the work, following your initiatives, and just basically kicking ass.
Okay.
So it's not entirely a gym mantra, although it may sound like it, mostly because I I'm a gym fanatic. I don't look it, but
That explains it.
okay. But yeah, that's what woke up for you.
Okay.
And what we're doing is empowering people to do more by themselves, for themselves, and not just doing it alone, but knowing that you have someone else in a community doing the same thing. So it gives you motivation.
Okay.
Yeah. So do it solo, but as a community.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember one of those deep things they told us in primary school. You want go alone, you will go fast. Go together, you'll go far. That's not how it goes, but it's something like that. Because like I wasn't paying attention a lot in school. But it is what it is.
It is.
Yes. James, what do you do? What do you do?
I juggle a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
I do CV consultancies.
Okay.
So that's like one of the main things that I do. Then there is the social media consultancy where we work with a few people or brands to do they consult on what can they do online and all that. Then now where we overlapped with Skylar was we have a collective. We call ourselves Table 15, where we saw a gap in communications. There is very simple things like emails, like cover letters and all that. That we see them because we work every day on emails. We work every day on communications.
Yeah.
To us, these are very simple things.
Right.
But we saw there was a gap, especially with the young professionals.
Right.
And also with like the creative industry where people know how to like communicate, but they cannot package what they do. Or alternatively in the tech space where people are very proficient, but they cannot communicate who they are or what
they're not able to translate their skill
into something they can now sell. So for the past like 2 to 3 months, we've been doing Twitter Spaces with Victor, talking about a variety of things from email etiquette to like how does a simple resume look, how to use AI tools to enhance your communication skills and all that. So with Skylar, we have seen that there's a gap where like we can now plug in our skills. We have done another workshop for creatives where we were now telling them how do you translate, how do you take some of these things that you've done on Instagram or on YouTube and put them in one place where someone can maybe click a link and it gives you everything that this person has done.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what we'll be doing on Saturday. On Saturday, where we'll be talking to now not creatives but tech people on how to package themselves for this market. And so especially for like young people, young creatives, it's very competitive out here. So you have to make sure that you've done the basics very well. Like you can communicate very well, you can maybe take notes very well, you can draft a very good email. And this now opens more doors than certifications and all that. Because sometimes we say we have maybe, you can write on your resume, you have attention to detail, or you can communicate very well.
Yeah.
But when someone reviews your email, it has typos, it has all that. So
it becomes a big fat question mark. Like,
can you really
detail you said?
Can you really communicate and all that?
Okay, awesome. So basically what I've understood is that you make people look good, sound good.
Exactly.
You know, to show up as the best versions of themselves. Just doing a lot of reflecting and deciding, I don't like this side, so let's maybe smile with this side of my face. And I think I love that so much. So now when it comes to the need for people to do it together, you know, Skylar said something interesting about that, you know, you find that there's a lot of people trying this, trying that, you know, and then you realize that you might not be the only one in that community. Why was it important for you guys to have this event where you bring people to? I mean, you could just be doing it. I know, like, you'd probably get clients, you'd move, you'd get ahead still, you know, but why does it matter for young people to come together to achieve what you guys are offering, or to just for you guys to give direction to whoever it is that's interested in what you're offering? Let's start with you, James.
So for us, we saw that especially for people who are coming fresh from campus, especially from public universities,
Yeah.
there is that need for like people to communicate really well, because I think for most, especially for most people, there is no training on that. It's a very basic thing, especially when employers are looking through maybe resumes, they're looking through all these applications. Some of these communication blunders become as a way to cut you out of the people who are competing. So
Right.
we saw that we had an already audience for us, especially we were on Twitter and all that. So what we were trying was now to how do we take this from people who are not online to maybe, can we now go to like universities, can we go to like colleges, can we, and also the thing was not about like money, because most of these people cannot like afford what maybe the going rates that we have.
Yeah.
So as we've said about the communities where it came, we saw it may be very easy to mobilize as a like, let's say these are economics students, a body of economic students. So it's easier to talk to them as a community as compared to like
Random individuals on
random
social media.
individuals
Yeah.
on social media, or even like the whole university. So targeting these
Right,
small
the small
communities
groups, yeah.
is easier than
Yeah.
going to the whole entity.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. Yes, Skylar, why is it important to give back like you guys are doing at this event?
Well, I like to give a reference, and my reference is really a very short story.
Okay. We love
When-
stories.
So when you're growing up and you asked me what did younger you want, I'd say most people would say a lawyer, a doctor, you
Yeah.
know, big.
I want to say
prestigious.
unfortunately, but I don't want to be a hater. We love you lawyers and doctors.
Yeah. So they'll always pick these prestigious titles for their profession,
Yeah.
but nobody ever thinks about the carpenter or you know,
Yeah.
that Joakali guy or the farmer.
Yeah.
But one day you'll get sick and your doctor will tell you you have to change your lifestyle habits. You have to start eating fresh food. You go to the market and there's no fresh food, and
It's
that's
all
why
chemicals.
you remember, oh my, I need the farmer.
Yeah.
And then you're at your house, you've invited your friends over, there's leather seats, there's this fancy cutlery you're using, fancy china. Nobody ever remembers that
Who
guy
made
who
them?
made them.
The artisan,
Yeah, up until you actually people start commenting on those. But
Until
you
you're
never-
forced to think about
yeah.
it.
So that tells you that we need to be, we are a community. We depend on each other. We just don't get to see it that often. So people would say this event is strictly for techies. It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
because community is very important. And like he said, there are some gaps. I, as an educator, would say when I'm teaching people, they learn how to code, they can write really good code, but they apply for jobs and they fail.
Yeah.
And you check why. It's because they couldn't express themselves, or, you know, their CVs are nice. They have really a lot of certificates, but how do I sell that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have no selling point. That is their voice. They have no way to present themselves. That is their resumes, etc.
Right.
So that gap, we found a really good way to bridge that. So with us showing people how to build a resume, they show us how to build a resume, and we transform that into a portfolio website, which is much better and a more modern way of doing it, you know, compared to the CV. So you have both and you're way ahead. The other thing is people will say, I've not had a job in like 3 years. I'll go back and ask them what's different from your CV in those 3 years.
Yeah.
It's the same CV you presented in 2021. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So how can I make my CV better? By learning a few skills, by, you know, and like he said, it's not about the money, because we're just trying to empower individuals to want to do more for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many free tools out there and nobody ever gets to use them. So it's just a way for us to remind them, hey, yeah.
There's something you can do, and we can show you how to use it. I love that so much. And James, you're a podcaster. Yes. So why does storytelling matter right now when everybody's just trying to get their rent paid? We just want maybe an education, whatever it is. Like, I feel like a majority of Kenyans right now are living on survival mode, and like our parents would say, hey, tunai time ya mchezo games, because I wanted to be an artist when I was young. I wanted to do fine arts, and my dad was like, you're not serious. Right now, a lot of parents, even today, unfortunately, would still tell their younger kids, you're not serious. When you do this art oriented careers, or careers that nobody understands, why does this benefit anyone? You might actually have monetary gain that a lot of people don't understand. But why is storytelling important in 2024?
So for stories, one of the things that recurring themes on storytelling is representation.
Yes.
Is like for instance, for Skylar, it's for like women seeing it's very possible for them to have a career in
STEM,
in tech.
Yeah.
So for stories, especially when we started our podcast, we did not think about like monetizing or what's the money. So one of the things that happened was forming a community where we could talk. And like the surprising thing was that especially when we had a night show, like it was around 10 to midnight on Friday. You'd find there were people who were listening to us on those hours where maybe they could be partying and all that. And it's very surprising that there's that the stories that we are telling, there are people who need to hear these stories, and then there are people who resonate to these things that are happening. And the other thing, we used to do also some very short clips or short reactions. You find someone telling me, for instance, one time we did sleep apnea. There's a comedian who was talking about how they have very bad sleep apnea. Then we dug into a few studies and explained sleep apnea works like this and this. And then one of our listeners actually reached out and told us, I went to the hospital and they told me that, I have sleep apnea, and they gave me some of these remedies. So we now feel like we are impacting people. And also like now telling these stories to people. There's so much that's happening around the world. There's so much people have to filter through. There's so much fake news. There's government propaganda. So telling these stories, even like in our own languages, it goes a long way in making people because our podcast was set up was very research based. It was very heavily on research. So to get through to these audiences, most of the time we would tell them, now you can now check out these papers, you can now check out this and this.
It's backed up. Somebody's done the research.
So a person can go and now
see for themselves
or research for themselves, or they can come and tell us that you are talking about this, and I also saw something of the sort in so what we our podcast, how you had set it up, was there was no sensationalism.
Right.
There was no like these are men's podcasts, so women can.
It's not just vibes and inshallah. Let's give people something they can work with.
So like it was we respected our audiences enough to educate them, to research first, like to go and research and ask these questions and call people. What are some of the things people are saying in cost that are causing this and this and this? And now we bring all that together and give the people a chance to argue, to talk, to have dissenting opinions and all that. So one of the traps that we fall into as communicators or like storytellers is, with time, maybe we can cocoon ourselves into into a bubble where we just say what we want to hear.
It's very tempting, actually.
It's very tempting. So that's one of the things that we've been going through, learning, calling people with different opinion to our shows and all that.
I love that so much. And something I've gotten from what you've said is taking responsibility for your art and understanding that you're accountable to the information that you're giving to people.
Giving to the people.
And not to be selfish with whatever it is that you're sharing, because, somebody's going to listen, they're going to be impacted. So, don't waste their time while you're at it. As much as it's your right to express yourself, let it be something worthwhile. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Skylar, as an artist, as a singer, as a musician, when we get into the less serious, very serious to me, but according to capitalism, the less serious, part of who you are. But actually, for me, that's the most serious part. The art takes, it takes precedence. What impact does that have? You're born with this gift. You also do grow into it, right?
Yeah.
But how can you be responsible with your art? Why is expressing your art important?
Okay, an example is the first time I ever wrote a song. It was because I noticed that I listened to a certain song so much whenever I feel down. And I noticed how that song impacted me.
Okay.
And, I would listen to it and then feel some psych, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I got this. And so that, in essence, lets you know the importance or the impact that art has on other people. So when I'm writing music, I want people to sit down and I want them to reflect. So you have to be very cautious of what you're putting out there, because some people take it as serious as I did that one song that I kept on repeat.
Yes.
So it's a challenge as well, because sometimes you'll write something and ask yourself, do I really want to put this out there? Yeah. But then again, you realize that we all go through different phases of life. So I try my best in my art to just impact everyone all around and not just, like you said, cocoon myself. And
Okay.
So it's challenging, but it's also very beautiful as well.
I think it is. I think it's myself. I'm a writer. I'm a poet, and I think it's really important to remember that it's not just about you. I might have this. I'm a. Should I call myself a performer? It's been a while, but this used to be this angry slam poets of screaming and shouting, and it got to a point where I actually stopped performing because I realized I was very angry, and all I was projecting was my anger, which was a true story, justified, valid, and honestly my lived experience. And I realized this isn't helping anybody. Actually, it's just empowering people to be more angry, and there's a more responsible way to create awareness about the things that hurt me or I was angry about. And that's the thing about art, is that there's a narrative out there about just create the art, yes, but also what else? That's not just create the art. Start.
Exactly.
That's how you start. But you don't stay like that, in my opinion. You don't just stay creating. Now you need to have a direction. Because somebody said that I have lots of artist friends, of course, and somebody said to me that no, art doesn't have to mean anything. But I'm like, out of 20 pieces, please can at least 15 or 12 of them mean something, please, because otherwise then we'll just be putting stuff out there. And then I had a lecturer back in campus who said that we don't curse here, so he said that deodorized dog-ish is just dog-ish still. That doesn't smell that good at the end of the day. So if you have nonsense that looks good, it's still nonsense at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it's that's where we get the brain rot content we see on TikTok, because there's great stuff on TikTok, there's great stuff on Instagram, but then we also have a lot of nonsense, and it's like, I don't even mean the funny things, because the funny things are good art that has good impact, but there's a lot of things that don't make any sense.
Exactly.
And it's just wasting everybody's time. So I love that at least we're agreeing on, there's value in art, and art should have a sense of direction, and the sense of direction should be geared towards the audiences, with the aim of impacting them positively. And oh my God, guys, wow, we're having this conversation is so beautiful to me. And we're gonna be back in just a moment. And right about now, we are going to hear from Mayonde, who we've been shouting out. We've already talked about Miss Mayonde here and there. We've talked about who she is, how she grew up, how millennial she is. And I feel like everybody here is millennial. Yes. And we had said that she's come from Bougie Town. She has come from Bougie Town, and she is one of Nairobi's theme songers. Literally, she has a song called Nairobi. Right about now, we're about to dive into Undercover, which is by HSKE, MDQ, and Polaris Pauline. Enjoy.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
And that was I'm Feeling It by Mayonde, Blinky Bill, and MDQ. Right before that, we had Mapenzi Undercover by HSKE, Mayonde, MDQ, and Polaris. Hey, I can't speak. Polaris, the ancestors are after me. Polaris Pauline. I know English, I know these things. I hope you guys are not having Undercover Mapenzi, because of all the things that can kill you in this city, Undercover Mapenzi is one of them, guys, because... let's just leave that there. Am I speaking from experience? Maybe. Who knows? Munyombe. That's all I can say for now. It is 24 minutes to the hour, and we are here with a brand new human in studio. I'd like for him to introduce himself. I know his first name, so welcome, Victor.
Thanks. My name is Victor.
Uh-huh.
We have a platform with Blaze called Table 15.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very good with resumes and upskilling. So I come on board as a writer. So mostly comms, email etiquette and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's I think you asked Blaze earlier what he does for a living. That's what I do. I create resumes as well.
Okay.
I do communication strategies and anything that is comms related.
All right, I love it.
Sorry, and I'm a very big fan of Kenyan football.
Okay.
And Kenyan art as well. So,
I was just gonna. You saved yourself, because I was just about to ask. Like, are you always that serious? Because umeingia upon like the way you want to represent those CVs. Serious and like straight to business until you said football. Sasa, unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion is. Football fans are in a cult, because hizo tabia zenu za kuvunja viti, introverted people who would never be caught dead speaking out loud, all of a sudden put them in front of a screen, let their team be losing or winning, and a whole new personality comes out.
I think it's just because I think football is the most popular sport in the world, so obviously it's going to get a lot of the limelight. It's like how the Swifties sijui naonanga wale wasa wakina Nicki Minaj sinawakonga na
Swifties catching strays.
So
like we're just chilling.
So just cause Taylor Swift is one of the biggest artists in the world. If someone who is a fan of Taylor Swift does something, if it's negative, then they say, oh, Swifties are like this and this.
So, and they are not a cult?
I can't speak for them. What I can do is speak for football people.
Yes.
And say it's they are very passionate, obviously, because football is a very emotive sport. They'll have last minute winners, they'll have controversial decisions. There's so many personalities in the game, from Africa to Europe, globally. So you can say it's just slightly of being a cult.
I mean, he has considered. We have a concession, ladies and gentlemen. Football fans are in a cult. Sindio, Skylar.
It is a cult.
It's a cult, period.
It's a cult.
Guys, he has said it. He's a man, and he has spoken for all men. Football fans are in a cult. Thank you. So now, when you were young, what did you want to do? Are you living your dreams, ama uliona tu ni uongo?
I'd say in a few years I'll be living my dream.
Okay.
Because I think like everyone else when I was young, so I grew up in Kawangware. So when I was young, like almost every boy in Kawangware wanted to become kwa makanga. Because unajua like hao ndo walikuwa na pesa, wako na wasichana, and those are the things that you aspire to when you're young. But then like when you grow older, you realize there's more to life.
I love that so much.
Not even in a bad way, like there's more to life. You can be anything you want to be. You can be an artist, you can be like, for me, I'm a writer, and coming from what most people would consider the ghetto, like most people don't they don't understand how I can come up with like 3,500 word essay on.
I mean, it's not that hard.
Is
it hard for you?
No.
We're the wrong people to be talking. Clearly, we're all biased.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's a journey that, like Blaze mentioned, you have to be willing to pay the price for it. So that's what I'm doing now, so that I can, enjoy it for the rest of my life.
I love that. Counting the cost of, what does it look like to be able to live out your passions? Yeah. So, okay, dream yako ya kwa makanga clearly is that's not happening right now. Yeah. I'm sorry for the kid inside of you. But I like it's so funny because I've stayed in Athi River a while, uko side Zalu, Kenya, and honestly the biggest guys out there are the Nduthi drivers. And so young girls end up being impregnated left, right, center by these guys, and young girls who really, really could have had a different future ahead of them. And you ask this girl, like, Ebu explain, and it's like, yeah, this guy came and he was, he used to drive me around, ride me around everywhere. And you realize that's as far as their aspirations go, because that's the only representation they have. So that makes sense. On top of that, me, I'm from Gashie. Gashie, the hottest guys, ni Makanga. Literally. So like when a young girl who's never been anywhere else, when she looks around, this is the guy. I'm a tattoo driver, I'm a makanga, because that's the guy who has money. Everybody else is a drunkard, ama wanauza miraa, and that's your alternative. Ama you just have a deadbeat daddy. Those are the responsible fathers in the uko, and it's so interesting. So how did you come out of that mindset? Yeah, this is what I want to be, into now you're teaching professionals how to be professional.
So I'd say for me, it's I was lucky to go to Lavington Primary.
Okay.
And it's a really good school, and the exposure that I got from there. They had a really good library. It's actually one of the best libraries I've ever seen.
Wow.
In Nairobi, because there were 2 dedicated librarians.
Wow! Shout out to the libraries.
A huge stock of books from the Hardy Boys to African literature. I actually started reading African literature when I was like in class 5, class 6.
Wow, I love that.
So by the time I was in Form 1, Form 2, nilikuwa nimemaliza set book zote.
Yeah, you're a smart guy. You're like, I know things.
So actually, I don't think personally, I don't classify someone being smart because they know things.
Right.
I classify someone being smart based on
how they apply.
Exactly, that information. Because now, that's what people confuse, because I can memorize the entire dictionary. But if my thought process is wrong, all I'll be saying is I'll just be using flowery language to say nothing.
Yeah, like
but
those
I can be
lecturers with
smart.
PhDs.
I can be smart, but I don't know the correct words, but the thought process is fine. So anyway, I was lucky to go to Lavington, and after that, I went to a relatively good school, Jamhuri Apangara. It was the facilities are almost similar. Yeah. And so since then, luckily, we have net. So I really like documentaries.
Right.
I like to read. So with time, I've actually taught myself how to do resumes, how to do comms.
Wow.
So and that's what we want to do on Saturday, and just tell young people that you're capable of so much more than you think you are. How mademu umesema wanakuwa impregnated by those Nduthi guys, I think it's because when you view life, when you have like that tunnel vision, like you only see what's ahead of you. So if you're in med school and you want to become a doctor, you can't go out every night. You understand?
Facts.
Like you have to stay home, you have to read longer hours, you have to apply yourself more, and you have to sacrifice a lot. So I think those young girls, it's not that they are loose or anything. It's just I feel like their ambitions are not
limited.
Yeah, they are limited. So you're not willing to sacrifice certain things to get to where you
they
are.
don't actually know to do that because there's no representation.
So and I think it's important because like now when Skylar says she's in tech, it's no longer a big deal. You get, it's no longer big because there's so many women in STEM right now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's within certain circles. Like
it's
in
within
Nairobi,
privileged circles, unfortunately.
But now, once you move out to like now the villages and stuff, like you realize there's still so many stereotypes that we need to sort. And I like what you guys are doing with Munyiri when he comes here and talks about law, because most people don't. For him, it can be it's very ordinary for him.
Right.
But for us, unasikia, yani I have these rights.
Yeah.
I have this.
You're just
I
bringing
have-
it down to the people, breaking it down.
So
Shout out to
what
you
we
and
used to do.
Jerry.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I love that so much. Thank you. Thank you, Victor. And I love what you said about like the conversation that we're having about representation, you know, and coming back, you mentioned about, you know, something interesting you've said that I don't know if I agree with fully when you say there's a lot of women in tech. I think you've also clarified when you said it's within a certain bubble. Yeah. So now in that sense, you realize that it's within privileged people. And I wanted to ask you as an educator, you know, first of all, we're talking about the libraries. Why is it important for, you know, somebody who's in a position of opening people's minds? It might be in a particular subject, obviously, but, you know, he talked about having libraries which impacted him throughout his schooling, and that made him different from his environment. And he was able to somehow escape, you know, just have a different perspective. So as a young educator, is that something that we need to look into, that yes, you're there teaching this tech related content, but is it also your responsibility to teach young people about maybe sexual health, maybe about how you spend your money, how, you know, or is it none of your business as long as you teach them the code? Yeah, and the second thing is, what does representation look like for you when the English you speak is clearly not the typical Kenyan English? So somebody would assume, oh, there's so much privilege, even if it might come from the internet, but then not everybody who has the internet has that. Because there's how we judge each other in this country. You're like, yeah, I can't afford that. I can't, the way she speaks, she's already not on my level. So yeah, let's start with the first one about an educator's responsibility. You know, what exactly is their response? Is this just to teach what you're being paid for?
No, well, that's typically what anyone would do. But naturally, I think my students would bear witness. I try to, you know, just apply the real life to, you know, my teaching.
Yeah.
At the end of the lesson or at the start of the session, I will let them know what the world expects of them. And I'll tell them what I'm teaching you is not enough. There's so much out there. You know, some of them are just in school because they were told you can apply to this school and then come study, but they don't know that there's free resources out there. Like I have friends who've learned coding from scratch and they have bigger jobs than I do.
Wow.
But you see, that's only because someone told them, hey, you know, you can get free certifications here.
Right.
And they went and did it and they were able to make something out of themselves. So it's not my responsibility is not just to impact knowledge, but to also make them resourceful. One key thing I like about my institution is our motto. It's learn how to learn. That's just you learning how to go out there and be self-dependent.
Just plugging you guys, pay her more.
Exactly. So we say 70% is done by you and 30% is mine. So learn how to learn.
Okay.
And I really like that about that institution. So yeah, my job is to, I'd say as an educator, remember your primary school teachers, how they were and how they impacted you. Imagine if they didn't, these songs that we sing, and then you grow up, you're like, oh wait, this is what this song was about. Imagine if they didn't go out of their way to tell you, wipe your nose, and they just told you to, you know, the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. And
we
that's
would be very interesting human beings.
Yeah. So I feel that just as our kindergarten teachers were, then we should be. That's the whole point of an educator all around. So the other question was
now what does it look like? You're somebody who has had the privilege of, you know, being a woman in tech, somebody who's thriving in it, somebody who's made a career out of it. But then now what does it look like for, you know, wasichana culture? You know, girls who don't even have the opportunity to go to school. Is that an attainable dream? And how can we get representation for them? The fact that you're here, but kuna mse uko nje hata hana stima. And I know that's a bit of a, you know, it's a heavy question, but, you know, the conversation needs to start somewhere. You know, what can we do for girls like that?
I like that question because I get judged a lot.
Yeah.
People look at me and think, oh, there goes privilege. You know?
That's the assumption, and unfortunately,
True, and it's mostly because, like you say, they hear the English is a bit, you know.
I really fought with it in the mirror. How do you say this word? Repeat 60 times.
Exactly.
Got it.
And just like him, I was pretty privileged. Growing up, I went to a missionary school.
Okay.
We were just closed in ngoza nyumbani tu, ngoza home, unaenda.
Oh my gosh.
Mnafunzwa kwa like a structure that had is unakumbuka zile plastic zilikuwa zinafunika a wooden like poles and then
Oh my
juu ni
goodness.
plastic.
Which is a vibanda.
Exactly. So that's why I learned all the way till class 3.
Wow.
And then in class 3, I went to another missionary school. We were still in home clothes, and it grew. And that's how I got to where I am. They used to give us books, a lot of books. So as you see, these resources are very important for people like us. You can imagine a ghetto girl, because I grew up in Mathare, Huruma area.
Yeah.
So you can imagine me coming out of there and being as I am. And most people would not see that when they look at you now. Even me getting into tech, it was all through a scholarship. It wasn't someone paying for me.
Right.
So I like it when people dream, because these dreams are very attainable.
They are.
All we have to do is just direct them and, direct them to the right resources.
All right. Wow, guys. So please don't dismiss your background. And what I can see, that's a common trend in the stories being shared here today is the fact that information is the bridging gap. That's what I'm seeing. And you guys are here to bridge that gap into how informed are we and how can this information make a difference. So Victor, why is this event that's happening? And if you can tell us a little bit more about the event, but why is it important, to you? Why does it matter?
I think for me it matters because I feel like when you're in the process of teaching others, that's when you learn the most. And that's how because sometimes I think it's easy to get ahead of yourself and think that you're like a god in your field.
Yeah, an expert.
But processes like this also show you what you need to learn, what the market wants, what the market doesn't want. And also for people, it's just like Skylar said, like it's you learn something from someone and then you teach that to someone else. And I think that's why countries that are ahead of us have these things where it's collaborations where you come to a radio space like this, you talk about your event, and someone else has another podcast, and it's an ecosystem where we feed off of each other.
Yeah,
so,
we coexist.
Yeah. So there's students who will come on Saturday and they'll probably know nothing about tech or nothing about how to brand themselves as employees or even employers. But they live there with something. And I will also, from the questions that they'll pose, I'll also learn something. I'll also question my beliefs, learn about my biases. And for me, I think that's the most important thing. To just show up, teach what you can, and then learn as much as you can from those people. Because if you come, with a mentality of, I know everything and I'm the teacher, then that's for me, that's not the attitude I want.
It's a bit prideful.
So on Saturday, it's just about learning, from each other. And sharing the information that we have.
Okay. Wow. And then plug us with the venue details, the timings, all of that.
Oh yeah. I'll let Skylar.
Okay.
All right, Skylar.
So the gathering, which is the name of the event,
Yes.
is edition 2. We had our first one at Arboretum.
Sounds like a ceremony.
Yes, it
gathering.
is.
Come give blood.
Sounds
Ignore me.
Sounds cultic, eh?
Ignore me, please.
So the gathering is happening on the 2nd of November at Moringa School from 9 a.m. all the way to 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
And what we'll be doing is, like he said, a CV building, interview prep, and a whole lot of connecting for the most part, because we'll be sharing and learning from each other. So we'll also be providing some snacks. You can carry your own. The charges are only 200 bob.
That's all Kenyans wanted to
Yes.
hear, the snacks.
Yeah, the snacks.
That's all you need to tell me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a very affordable event.
Okay.
And we have an early bird offer where, it's already closed, but I'll give it for today.
Okay.
So if you refer one person and they pay, you get half price. So you refer two people, you get no price. So
Yani
that's really
fair guys. 100 bob.
100
Ni
bob.
fair kwenda rongai.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're here. So miss out, because it's going to be a really great opportunity for all of us.
All right.
Yeah.
And is it just for students, or is
No.
everybody welcome?
Everybody is welcome. Everybody from all industries. It's
Yeah.
not only in tech. As you can see, we are teaching people how to build a portfolio website, which is something a techie would have already known.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's not reserved
That's
for
the
techies.
assumption.
Yeah, that's the
Some
assumption.
techies don't know.
They don't know.
I know lots
wow,
of
I
techies.
classed them. So yeah, it's an opportunity to add something to your resume.
Yeah.
Like say, I can now build a website from scratch, and you did it all in a day. So it's a really, really great opportunity.
In a day,
In
that's
a day.
possible.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Guys, show up.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can register on Wuwoka page. That is WUWOGKA. The registration link is there. All the details for payment are on our page. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Moringa School, Ngong Road, Prestige. Don't forget to Prestige.
Yeah, guys. So you guys have already heard. That's the plug. That's where we're going. In your plot, yeah. Saturday from, you said 9 to 5:30. Yes. Moringa iko wapi?
Moringa utashukia tu hapo Prestige. So
Prestige.
utachukua gari Ambassador, ushukie Prestige. Once you're there, just ask for Moringa School or Ngong Lane Plaza, first floor.
Yeah, guys. Prestige up on Ngong Road.
Yes.
So y'all make your way to Moringa School 9 a.m. to 5:30, and then you guys are able to network with people who know things, smart people who have been making things happen, and y'all can learn about making portfolios, online portfolios. You're able to figure out what in the world is wrong with your CV. Why won't anybody hire you?
Yes.
Hopefully it's not just your terrible personality, because we can't fix that. Yeah, so sorry guys if you're catching strays. Apologies to you. And yeah, we have had a wonderful show today. These guys have made my day. Hopefully you've been educated. Hopefully you've learned something. You've seen that there's a space for women in tech, in STEM as well. That you've seen that there's a reason why we tell stories. How to be responsible with our art, because it serves in a very impactful way. And let us know what you've gotten from this conversation. You can give us that feedback at Power Radio across all social media platforms. Also at Caroline_Murote. That's on Instagram, and Caroline Murote across all other social media platforms. As for relationship applications, mechelewa guys. I told you the year is 2027. That's when I'm getting married, and you guys are already late. So Sijui, I'm gonna have to be finding my own man now, because y'all are letting me down. Are you guys applying? You're receiving?
No, I'm receiving.
Victor, how's that docket going? Me na apply, and your people are letting me down.
Natafuta dem ile sekunda kana 5 million kwa account. So
wewe unatafuta madem wenye wanatafuta wasi wako na pesa.
Easy. It's the road to 5 million. I believe that African women are queens, and they deserve nothing less. And they deserve nothing less. So I will not.
Why does that sound so sarcastic?
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm very serious.
Okay.
They deserve nothing less. And so, I just can't come. I don't have to
empty-handed?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's proper.
Kuna mtu alikuacha juu kwa na pesa, Victor?
Actually, saizi wanasema tungangane. Lakini kungangana sahi ni ngumu. Unajua unangangana na relationship.
Kungangana si free.
Unangangana huku na gigs. Unangangana na taxes. Unangangana na trauma. Childhood trauma.
Oh my gosh.
My friend.
Millennials.
Ni noma.
We need a communal therapy.
Yes.
We need a state of the nation address therapy session. Anyways, power to your relationships. We nasamanga, the answer is Jesus. Kama mnataka wengine shauri zenu. Mtangangana na hizo my broken hearts. This has been Sheversations. My name is Caroline Murote. I am here with Skylar, Victor, and James Blaze is somewhere in some corner there, just making us social media famous and all of that. And until Friday, we will see you next time. And for the rest of you that are serious about your lives, see you 9 a.m. Moringa School for
Wuwoka, the gathering.
For Wuwoka, the gathering. All right.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.